While on the West Coast, I had to try one of those donut shops. You know, the famous ones with the pink boxes. Well, really close to our hotel, I found a place that looked pretty legit. So let's get into an analysis of everything I tried, and that's starting right now. Ever since watching the captivating documentary about the ubiquitous West Coast donut shops brought to life in the 1970s by Cambodian refugees coming to America to escape political persecution, I knew I needed my own pink box of donuts. During our Anaheim Disneyland trip, I finally got to have one. At Granny's Donuts, even before the sun was up, fresh donuts filled the case. Let's get into an analysis and breakdown of everything I got to try at Granny's. One thing's for sure when you go to these donut shops, there's no instruction manual, and they definitely don't hold your hand. They just want to know what you want, they'll throw it in a box, and they'll send you on your way. Being that I knew I was trying a couple of stops out, I figured I wanted to get things that looked common enough that I can get at multiple places. So when I was at Granny's, I settled on essentially 6 things that looked kind of common. Well, one of the 6 was definitely something that was a little weird, and I was hoping I would see elsewhere, but I don't think I did. So rather than do a whole big intro, let's just get right into an analysis of the very first donut that I got there, and that is your typical glazed round donut. One thing's for sure about the glazed round donut, it's a large mother. And the really cool thing about it is, and I'll show you, you could actually see the lines from where it was deep fried, and that's probably where a rack was holding it under the oil. So that was really cool. We're definitely dealing with really fresh donuts here, which is a really big sigh of relief because in my area, there's really only a few places where you can get real bona fide fresh donuts. So just an East Coaster going to the West Coast, as simple as this is as far as just a glazed, yeasted donut, this was just an amazing sight to see. Getting into how it tasted, absolutely amazing. It had like all those nice air pockets, and as you chew through it, it's like a Krispy Kreme in the sense that as you bite, it kind of just melts along with it. And I have nothing bad to say about this donut at all. Absolutely incredible. Next up, Boston cream. Who doesn't love a Boston cream donut? Actually, for the record, it's my favorite type of donut out there, which says a lot. And as far as what they had at Granny's, their version, as you can see here, the fudge topping was not as dark as I imagined it would be. It was actually kind of on the brown side, which was a little weird. Cocoas come in all different varieties, so it could just very well be that they were using a cocoa that was a little bit on the lighter side. As far as taste, it was a lot richer than like a Dunkin' Donuts variety, so it's kind of one of those looks can be deceiving kind of thing, but it's definitely remarkable in that it looked a little bit weaker, I would say, than even the Dunkin' Donuts would look. Now this is just one round of donut that's fried really nicely, and then it's stuffed inside with that custard, and I gotta say, this custard was nice and smooth, really rich. It was just the right amount that was in there, and it was absolutely amazing. Next, we'll get into what they call a glazed long twist donut, and I opted to get mine with the same chocolate frosting just because I knew that would be kind of a crowd pleaser. Now mind you, all these donuts can't be just for me. I did record these videos back to back, so I wasn't gonna eat a whole freaking dozen donuts back to back. So I had to have a little bit of help. Now the longer varieties typically aren't my favorite, and I don't know why that is. I think I just like round donuts, but in the case of the twist, I kind of had a reason for not really wanting to get that one, or not really thinking I was gonna like that one, because those little twisted areas in the middle there, I can envision those actually not getting cooked thoroughly and being a little bit more on the gummier side, kind of doughier. But once I got to that portion of the donut on this one here, the chocolate glazed long twist, that kind of really wasn't a concern. It tasted a lot like those other 2 donuts that we've already tried. Kind of combining that chocolate topping with kind of just a regular yeasted donut. I don't think this one is better in any way than either of those other 2, but very good nonetheless. Next, we're getting into what I thought was a really unique donut looking at that case, and the only information I could find on it is that this is called a buttermilk donut. It's more of a cake donut than a yeast donut, and it's kind of shaped like a square, but the way it's deep fried, it kind of implodes upon itself. So it ends up looking kind of like a little miniature like pound cake kind of thing. I think that's just the physics of putting that type of shape in hot oil and kind of what happens, because it kind of looks here like one side is cooked more than the other side. So I bet you what it is just based on the inertia. It kind of goes in that hot oil, curls up, and then the bottom cooks more than the top does. But it seems like what they do is they hit it with glaze as soon as it comes out, and that glaze hardens around the outside. So eating through this one here, this one is a lot crummier than the other 3 that I've tried, and this was the one where we were totally making a mess. But I will say, as far as everything I tried, including the next couple of donuts we're going to talk about here about Granny's Donuts, this one was by far the most unique, and this probably would be my choice of what I would get next time I go there, because this was just absolutely crazy. In my area, we have tons of cake donuts, including cider donuts, which are kind of similar to a cake donut, just a little bit of spice inside of the dough. So it's not like the idea of a cake donut is foreign to me, but just the whole funkiness of this, the way it looked, kind of the way it was crumbly, this buttermilk donut was absolutely amazing. And I think that's kind of the theme here as far as this Granny's Donuts. Everything was really good, but this one here was just a little bit outstanding as far as that entire class of donuts coming out of those pink boxes. Next up, we had the maple bar. Now this one here had no filling inside, but it had a really nice glaze of maple across the entire top. And I know all I said about the bar donuts earlier on. This one just looked a lot better than kind of the round maple donut. So this is the one that I went with. I also figured maple, because we're from the Northeast, maple would be a pretty popular flavor among the family. So I didn't want to fight the family for more of this donut. You know, later on we were back at the room kind of snacking on stuff. And again, the donut here is kind of the standard yeast donut at Granny's. This one here, where it really excels, is with that glaze. And it looks like I got a little dusting of powdered sugar from something else on top of there as well. They're all coming from the same kitchen. It's not like they're going to go out of their way to make sure a little bit of sugar doesn't go on top of something that's already loaded with sugar. You know what I mean? But that maple flavoring was amazing. This glaze here had a little bit of a shell around the outside and a little bit of fluidness kind of touching that donut. So if you're not careful, this one could be messy too, but it tastes absolutely amazing. The last one here is what I'm going to call my entire brainchild. I love lemon-filled donuts. And in my area, you really can't find them. I think there might be one place that makes a really nice lemon curd that goes inside of the donuts. So you know I had to try it at Granny's. And I didn't see like a glazed lemon, so I had to go with the powdered lemon, even though I really don't love powdered donuts just because I'm messy enough as it is. I don't need powdered sugar going all over the place as well. But this lemon donut was really ridiculous. For some reason, it seemed like maybe it was fried a little more than the other ones. And as far as being loaded with that filling, it was actually popping out the bottom. And what seemed to happen is the powdered sugar that was around the donut, around the opening where that lemon icing got out, seemed to kind of like make like a candied lemon kind of shell almost. Not anything that you would actually crunch through, but just enough to kind of seal it back up. It was really weird. But the powdered lemon was really good. I don't know that I would say, as far as the yeasted donuts, that it's my favorite, because it'd be a hard toss-up between that and the Boston cream. So I guess if I had to pick one, I would pick the lemon, just because it's not something I can get all the time. So one of the things that was really cool about going to Granny's Donuts is that with a young child who gets up really early, we ended up going there before the sun even came up. And that reminded me of that scene in Boogie Nights. And I don't want to get too far into that whole thing, but it's really cool to see there's 24-hour donut shops. And it was really refreshing to see that the donuts that they had there could have been made just minutes ago. Everything we tried was just absolutely fresh. Definitely not sitting around for a while. And as simple as this place was, looking at the menu, it looks like there's a ton of other things they have there. Sandwiches, coffee, but honestly, I'm glad I stuck to the mission here, because you can tell the donuts is really where this place excels. Now, as the sun was coming up, we ended up driving to another place that was right around our hotel as well, and that was more of a chain experience, which is going to be coming here on the channel very soon. But the reason I bring it up is because we were staying pretty close to Disneyland, and just deciding on which place to pick for donuts for this first stop was pretty difficult, because these donut shops are all over the place. If you enjoyed this donut breakdown, make sure you hit this video with a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And there's plenty more for you to see in that California playlist, so click into that right here, and I'll see you in the next video.